Have you ever looked at a horse racing form? It is a dizzying sea of numbers and stats. Most people will open it, glance at it, and shut it. Moving on to listening to who the experts like, a gut feeling about a horse's name, a lucky guess, or even by the odds, picking the favorite because, hey, can't go wrong there, or even the longest shot on the board. Now, those odds, they represent the likelihood of a horse winning, but do you really know what they mean and how you can use them for your advantage? What if I told you that one of the secrets to becoming a better handicapper is in the odds, a simple mathematical formula that anybody can learn? Hi, it's Maura from Trifecta and a little bit extra, and today we're uncloaking the veil of mystery behind horse racing odds and how you can use the information to make better selections. But first, let me start by saying this. Horse betting is not legal in every state, so if you're betting, make sure it's legal. See, complexity is one of the villains of horse racing. It is a barrier to entry for new fans. And one of the things that may confuse you the most are the odds. See, first, they just keep on changing. And second, you may say, what the heck do they even really mean? I can't tell you how many times I've been at the track and somebody was so excited about winning and they said, I can't wait to see how much I actually won. When you're at the track, the odds board, they are flashing these numbers like 5 to 2 and 7 to 1 and 10 to 1. And those numbers may seem arbitrary, but they're not. See, most people think that picking a winner is just pure luck. And yes, luck does have something to do with it because you can't pick a winner 100% of the time. But one of the things that dominates this sport is data. Behind the scenes, horse racing is one of the most data-rich environments in the world. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry built on cold hard numbers. And where can you find those numbers? Your racing form. That's why you see the handicappers pouring over their forms. And when you see me at the track, you always see me with my notebook in hand. Let's start with the basics and what do the odds mean in terms of payouts? If you're going to a race for a very first time, I want you to understand how much you could potentially win for the amount you wagered. Now here I am strictly talking win bets. Payouts in horse racing for win bets are normally expressed for every $2 bet. So let's say, for example, you're going to put $2 on a 5 to 1 horse. You take the odds 5 to 1, you multiply it by $2 because that's how much you're betting. So that equals 10. And then you add back in your original $2 bet. That's $12. So for every $2 you wager on a 5 to 1 horse, you get back $12. Now you do the same for all those other crazy fractions like 7 to 2 or 1 to 5. Let's say you're placing a $2 bet on a 7 to 2 horse. 7 over 2 times 2 is 14 over 2, which just equals 7. And then you add back in your original $2 bet, that's 9. So for every $2 you wagered on a 7 to 2 horse, you get back $9. Catching on? Good. Now, what if you bet more than $2? Well, that's really easy. You take your bet amount, you divide it by 2, you take that number, and you multiply by your winnings that you would have received for just a $2 bet. So in that 7 to 2 example where you're getting back $9 for every $2 bet, if you actually bet $10 on that horse, you take 10 over 2, that's 5, multiply it by the 9, that's 45. You would get back $45. Now, while this works for win bets, place and show bets, they're a little bit more different and complex. Now, they're still based on the pool of money being bet, but the math is more complex. Just know a place bet is going to pay less than a win bet, and a show bet is going to pay less than a place bet. Now, unlike most sports betting where the odds are fixed, horse racing odds, they change. That is the heart of the pari-mutuel system. In horse racing, we start with morning line odds. They're found in your horse racing form. They're set by the track expert handicapper, and they tell you their opinion of the probability of each horse winning. But all good things must come to an end, and so do morning line odds when the race opens. That's when these odds begin to change. Now the odds are determined by the pool of money being bet, less what the track is going to take out for themselves, called the takeout, and how much money is being bet on each horse. If somebody makes a ginormous bet on one horse, then the pool of money is going to swing to that horse and their odds are going to go down. If nobody is playing a horse, their odds are going to be high. That's why it's called parimutuel. It means mutual betting. Bettors are betting against each other and not the house. And just remember, these odds, they're going to fluctuate until the gates open. Just because you placed a bet at 6-1 doesn't mean you're going to get 6-1. You may end up with 1-2 odds if someone places a big bet right before the race starts. At this point, when the odds are fluctuating, they may not be a pure reflection of a horse's ability. They are a carefully constructed price reflecting not only the public's opinion, but also the money that the track is going to keep for themselves. This system is so complex, most bettors never look behind the curtain. But behind the curtain is where there's some information that you may want to factor into your selection. Before we move on, if you're finding any of this information useful, go ahead and hit the like button and hit subscribe. My channel is here to give you horse racing previews for those big racing days and also horse racing education. So if that appeals to you, go ahead and follow me for more quality information like this. Have you ever heard of the story of the gamblers who went to Hong Kong in the 1980s and they won a lot of money because they rooted their selections in algorithms based on a lot of data and a lot of stats? Now, it was reported that they hit one of the biggest bets of all time in 2001, the Triple Trio for $17 million. Never cashed the ticket. They let the money get distributed to charities. One of the things that it's reported that they point out that made their algorithms that much stronger was the use of live odds. They realized that the public's opinion, which was shaping those final odds, wasn't always accurate. There was a gap between perception and reality, and in that gap, there was an edge. One legendary syndicate began the painstaking task of building a database from scratch, manually collecting data from thousands and thousands of races. They were relentless, spending years refining that algorithm. The true breakthrough, though, came when these bettors, they stopped trying just to predict the winner. They realized that their secret weapon wasn't finding that fastest horse. It was about finding the mispriced horse. And to do that, you first have to understand the language of the odds. Let me break it down for you so that you could do it yourself. When you see fractional odds like 4-1, it's just an implied probability of the horse winning. And the formula is simple. It's this. You take the denominator divided by the denominator plus the numerator. So 4-1 odds, you take the second number, 1, and you divide it by 1 plus 4. So 1 divided by 5, that's 0.2. It is a 20% probability that the horse will win. A horse with 9-1 odds has an implied probability of 10%. 1 divided by 1 plus 9. But here's the secret that I mentioned earlier about the parimutuel system, the house edge. It's the takeout. The track has to take its cut, often 15 to 25% directly from the betting pool before any payouts. And most of the time when you look at probabilities, they all add up to 100%, but not in horse racing. If you take the horses that are running the race, you translate their odds into probabilities, they're going to equal more than 100%. It's going to be 100% plus the takeout. Here is a real life example with a race, only 4 horses. Translating each of the odds into probabilities show you they don't equal up to 100%. Oh no, 122%. That 22% is the takeout. Now, the first horse has 8 to 5 odds. You translate that into probability, it's a 38% chance that the horse is going to win. But guess what? If you remove that 22% takeout, now the true probability of the horse winning is more like 31%. So the odds on the tilt board, they are inflated probabilities. And what that means is you're going to get paid at an 8 to 5 odds. But if you were getting paid for the true probability of the horse winning, you would be getting paid more. See, there's a fee that you have to pay to enter and to play. And that's okay. I get it. The takeouts have to exist. But the people that are out there that are doing this professionally, and trust me, they're out there playing horses professionally. They understand that to win in the long run, they got to cover that takeout. They need to find horses, not only horses that can win, but where their opinion that the probability of that horse winning is higher than the public opinion. Let me put it to you this way. It's like being on a treadmill where you set the speed to be 22%. Now you need to run at least 22% just to stay even. But if you want to get ahead, you have to run faster than 22%. You could win races along the way, but if your speed isn't high enough, you're going to begin to drift backwards over time. So what is considered a value bet? Let's say the public odds gives a horse a 10% chance of winning, but you think it's more like 15%. Well, that's an edge and that's a value bet. But why does it even matter? Well, for those of us just betting one race or two, really doesn't matter. But for those people who want to play a lot of races and they want to stay ahead and win more than they lose, it does matter. Here's an example. You're flipping a coin once or twice, heads or tails, it doesn't matter. But if you flip it 1,000 times, statistics say 50% will be heads, 50% will be tails. Now let's translate this into horse betting. Let's say a horse is 5 to 1. That means 17% implied chance of winning. But you say the horse has a 10% chance of winning. And you're going to go and play this horse in 10 races for $10 each. Well, if it has a 10% chance of winning, it's going to win one race and at 5 to 1 odds, you're going to get back $60. But for the other 9 races, you lost $90. So you are down $30. But now let's say, no, I'm not playing the horse at 5 to 1. I'm going to play them at 10 to 1. Again, $10 bets, 10 races. It's going to win one race, but this time you're going to get back $110. You're still going to lose the $90, but now you're up by $20. What is the truth behind horse racing odds? It's that the odds are not a pure prediction of who's going to win. They're a reflection of the public opinion and the takeout from the track. Those flashing numbers on the board, they're a conversation between the betting public and the house. A lot of people will lose because they're going with the public opinion and betting favorites, or they're just betting their gut feelings. The people that are really into this sport, however, they don't just ask, well, who do I think is going to win? They ask, which horse has the odds that don't reflect its true probability of winning? So here's a simple framework the next time you're at the track if you want to start incorporating this. First, you're going to translate the odds into their probabilities. And then you're going to form your own opinion and your own probabilities based on your research of a horse winning. And then you're going to look to see where your probabilities are higher than the betting public. If the board says a horse has a 10% chance of winning, but you're like, hey, I think it's more like 20%, that may be the selection for you. The world of horse racing is based on information, and good information can potentially lead to an edge. So the next time you look at odds, just don't see the potential payouts, see those implied probabilities, factor in the track takeout, and ask yourself, is the price right? But again, if you decide to bet, make sure you're doing legally and responsibly. If you found this information useful, please hit like and hit subscribe. More racing previews and educational videos to come. I hope you all find success in finding your winners. Cheers!